mosey on back here to my yoga mat. And just allow yourself here a few moments just to settle into the space that you've created for your practice this evening. Onto your yoga mat. Same options as always, so allowing the legs to lengthen to the bottom corners of your mat, heels to press into the mat, feet to fall wide. If it suits your lower back more so, you can have the knees bent, feet onto the ground. And if you choose that option, allow the knees to come to touch so that they can rest against one another. So really here just looking to find a form where you can begin to release any need to hold on or any need of effort as we approach our opening meditation. Maybe your hands are resting comfortably beside your body, palms up towards the ceiling. Allow the shoulders to draw down into the mat and away from your ears. If you're looking to be a little bit more grounded this evening, the option of turning the palms over and pressing the hands into the mat, maybe even taking one hand onto the heart space and the other one just beneath onto the mid-belly. And then once you find your form, the invitation to allow the eyes to completely close, or perhaps softening your gaze to a point above you. And just allow the next inhale to arise with the least amount of effort possible, just noticing it. And then as you exhale, can you release through the jaw with a gentle sigh, sinking weight heavily into the body or backside of your body. As you inhale, take that breath all the way up to the top of your chest. Exhale again, softly through the lips. Release the back teeth and release a sigh. The next time your body is ready to exhale, can you allow the lips to come to touch? Beginning to invite now both the inhalation and your exhalation to move in and out of your nose. And just noticing within our physical bodies that simple change. Observing how that's altered the experience of breath for you this evening. And of course, if it doesn't feel right, if it feels uncomfortable, feel free to find whatever breath form suits. But just noticing how sometimes the most subtle changes can really shift our whole perception of the experience, right? And as we hold here in stillness, just focusing on breath, moving in and out now through the nose. Noticing our physical body, the outer shell, so to speak. And noticing what begins to arise. Is there a space within your body that's feeling tight? Perhaps feeling a little bit achy? Maybe you simply feel drawn to notice the rise and fall of the belly with breath. Whatever experience comes up here in your physical body, just allow awareness to settle into that space. Just being a listener for a moment here. What is it that you need in this moment within your physical body space? And then releasing any observation with your next exhale. Taking that next inhale to settle awareness once again back to your breath. Moving into the yogic breath, that 3-part breath where you find that full expansion on the inhale and the depth and the release on your exhale. So inhaling, low belly lifts. Rib cage expands. Breath floats all the way up to the top of the chest or your collarbone space. And as you exhale, sinking weight to the shoulder blades, releasing your midsection, and allowing the belly to fall down towards your mat. As you inhale, continuing to build the front side of the body with the breath lifting up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale next, can you take awareness to the back side of your body? Feel the shoulders broaden. Feel the mid-spine relax. And allow your low spine to press into the mat. So inhaling, feeling low belly, mid belly, finding that lift through the front side into the collarbones. Exhale, expanding through the shoulders, allowing weight to sink down in the mid-spine. Navel draws in so much that we press the low spine into the mat. Just rotating awareness here. Front side of the body with the inhale. Back side of your body with your exhale. And noticing if your mind begins to wander here. As best as you can we anchor awareness back to this breath, back to the sensations that arise within our physical bodies as we bring ourselves into a point of stillness. You know, sometimes when I come to my yoga mat, it's the first time all day that I've taken a moment, A, to focus, B, to breathe, and lastly, to find stillness. So release anything that is not applicable to your yoga practice this evening. Park it off to the side. And allow yourself to be fully present here. Physical body, emotional or mental body, and breath body. We'll stay here for another few cycles of breath. Being present, observing what arises, meeting that with kindness. And then the next time you release through an exhale, if your feet are connected with the mat, knees are bent, I'll ask that you begin to lengthen them now to the bottom corners of your mat. Allow the feet to fall wide, inner thighs to spin up towards the ceiling. And if your hands are on your body, or if your palms are facing down, I'll ask that you extend the arms beside the body and offer the palms up towards the ceiling. So coming into what a traditional Shavasana would look like. And then from there, sinking awareness to the back of the heels, drawing it up the back of both legs, left and right, behind the knees, behind the thighs, into your sitting bones. Wrap awareness around the front of the leg, thighs, knees, shins, up the foot into the top of your toes. And for a moment, when you're ready to inhale, can you find muscular effort? So engage through the glutes, engage and squeeze the thighs, lift the kneecaps, maybe even draw the toes up, lift the heels away from the ground. Find muscular engagement. And then as you exhale, release that engagement, wiggle out both feet. Allow the legs to come to a point of stillness. Drawing awareness now up through the low spine, shoulders, wrap around to the chest, down the arms, and out to the fingertips. Wrap the fingers in. Allow the thumb to come across, form a fist. Squeeze the fist, engage the triceps and biceps. Press the shoulders into the mat, arch the spine away from the ground. And then as you exhale, release that effort, lengthen the fingers. Take take awareness now back to the toes, out to the outer edges of your feet, left and right, pinky toes. Can you move each toe here individually? Allow awareness to eventually come to settle onto the big toes, both sides. And then once you're there, spread the toes with some energy. Point to flex the feet. Maybe make some circles through the ankle joints. Take those circles in both directions. Looking for balance here. And while keeping this movement going in the lower half of our body, let's take awareness to the fingertips. Let's taking this movement a little bit differently than we typically do, just noticing how, again, just such a subtle change can change the experience completely. So if it doesn't feel right, allow the lower body to become still once again. Otherwise, beginning to take movement to the pinky fingers, left and right. Work your way inwards until you reach the thumb space. Curl the fingers in, wrap the thumbs around, give a nice big squeeze, and then allow the wrist to begin to roll both directions. Elbows bent. Press the back of the arms into the floor. And then as you inhale next, begin to bring the arms slowly overhead, reach towards the back of the mat. Allow the backs of your hands to rest onto the ground. Soften the elbows to get there. And then allow everything once again to come into a point of stillness. Noticing that space in the back of your spine where it lifts away from the mat. Can you think of lifting away a little bit more by pressing weight into the sitting bones and drawing the shoulder blades down towards the sitting bones? A bit of a back bend here. On the next inhale, we're going to try to draw the low spine into the ground by pointing the toes, reaching out of the fingertips, draw the navel in, and guide the low spine down. It might not meet, and that's okay. We're just aiming towards that. As you inhale, allow the shoulders to draw down, sitting bones to fall heavy, arch the low spine away from the ground, find that lift. And then taking that next exhale, draw the toes up, press the calves into the mat, draw the navel in towards the spine, low back presses down. So just moving here through a few rotations. We're kind of doing like an anterior or forward pelvic tilt and a back or posterior back pelvic tilt here, with the awareness settling into that mid to low spine space. So moving mindfully here, finding whatever release and whatever engagement suits your body. We'll take this for one more round, whatever your breath flow is. And then the next time you exhale, wiggle at the hips, allow the heels to rock side to side, find that release. Let's take the arms down now, shoulder height or lower, palms up towards the ceiling. And then from there, we'll invite one foot at a time to come to meet the mat, hip distance apart. Think of lengthening the tailbone now towards your heels. So drawing that low spine once again into the mat. And then from there, inhale to find that full breath through the front of your body. And then exhale, let's take the knees over towards the right and allow them to rest. We'll just hold here with our gaze neutral or up towards the ceiling for a moment. Taking awareness to the fingertips, both left and right. As you inhale next, can you extend out of all 10 fingers equally? Find that lift through the front side of your body. And then as you exhale, can you sink weight into the shoulders, down the left side body, into the side of your left leg. Allow the knees to fall heavy. As we hold here, if you're finding that space is created to move into, the option of taking your gaze to look over the left shoulder, So long as that left shoulder can stay maintained or pressing down into your mat, the option of taking the right foot just gently to the outside or on top of the left thigh, maybe even just above the knee. You can use that right foot to guide some weight into the left side body to move deeply into your stretch. Only go there if you're ready. There's no need to force it. No need to be impressive. Just honor what works. So just take another moment here, allowing for release through the left side body. If you have taken that right foot on top, I'll ask that you release that bind. And then together on our next inhale, we can draw the knees and gaze up through center. Exhale, release the knees over to the left now. Your gaze to remain neutral. And just take a moment to arrive. As you've heard me say, one side always feels more accessible than the other. So just noticing here which side comes with more ease, which side has more space. Reaching out through all 10 fingers, heavily press some weight equally into your left and right shoulders. Exhale, awareness down the right side body, through the ribs, through the hip, down to the knee. If it suits to turn your gaze to look over the right shoulder, you can move into that. Maybe even taking that left foot on top of the right thigh to guide the knee down a little bit more. Noticing if you're clenching here through the back of your jaw. If so, allow it to wiggle out, find that release. If you've taken your left foot on top of your right thigh, you can release that bind. And then when you're ready to inhale next, you can draw your knees and gaze to come back up through center. And then once you're there, squeeze the inner thighs to draw the knees in towards your body. Wrap your arms around, interlace your fingers. Tuck the chin and lead with the forehead as you draw your upper body towards your knees. Even though we're up here, can you still think of extending the low spine to the bottom of your mat? So really allow the pelvis to rest onto the mat here, even if that means releasing the legs down a little bit. So we want that full support through the lower body. So holding and breathing here, one more cycle of breath. And as you exhale, gently release the upper body down to the mat. And then allow the soles of the feet to come next down to the mat. Taking the knees about hip distance apart here. Once again, taking a moment to adjust so that we're extending the low spine to the bottom of the mat. Navel slightly contracted here to keep the core engaged. Feel the right side of your body before we offer any movement. Notice the foot on your mat. Press into the heel, wiggle the toes. And then as you inhale, begin to guide the right knee in towards your body. And take your hands behind the thigh for support. Maybe even interlacing the fingers. Can you use the upper body to draw the right knee in even more so to the right shoulder? Let's lift the heel so that the ankle comes in line with the knee. And if you're feeling okay here, you can extend the left leg now down to the bottom of your mat. Feet are active on both legs, so draw the toes up. Think of pressing out through the heels, coming into winter-leaving pose on the right side. So as we draw the right knee in, can you continue to extend out of your left foot? So we've got two very different movements here. Right side is constricted or restricted rather. Left side is finding that extension. Soften the shoulders away from the earlobes. Allow the back of the arms to fall down towards the mat. We'll take one more big breath here. The next time you inhale, we'll draw the left foot, or left knee rather, in towards the body. Allow the right foot to come down to meet the mat. So just transitioning right over to opposite side. Your hands can come behind that left thigh. Draw the left ankle in line with the knee. And then choosing to either stay here with this right foot glued into the mat, or if you prefer, extend the leg now down to the bottom of the mat. Draw the toes up on both feet. Beginning to use the arms to draw the left knee now in towards the left shoulder. Extend as long as you can out of that right foot. Thinking of the low spine here once again. Is it extending towards the bottom of the mat? Can you draw your navel in a little bit more to press the low to mid spine into the ground? Keep everything nice and long. When your next inhale arrives, you can begin to draw the right knee now up towards the left. Take hands behind both thighs, equally left and right. Keep the knees drawing in. And the next inhale, again, we're going to lengthen the legs up towards the ceiling. Good. Keep your hands behind the thighs for some support there. And you can have a generous bend into the knees, or you can have the legs extended. Whatever works. Let's focus here on keeping our legs about hip distance apart. And then imagine both thighs here falling super heavy. Heavy, heavy, heavy. So noticing if you're clenching, if you're grasping, if you're finding the need to protect here. Can you visualize the weight of gravity drawing down onto the legs, equally through the knees, equally through the thighs? So we'll hold here for just another moment. And then when you're ready to exhale next, we're going to bend the knees in towards the body. And then lots of control, release the soles of the feet to come down to the mat. Walk the heels close to the body once you get there. And then feel the weight equally again into the left and into the right heels. Wiggle the toes if you find they're grasping onto the mat, and then allow them to relax. And then as you inhale next, we'll draw the right knee in towards the body. Just take the hands behind the thigh for a moment. From there, we're going to extend the right fingertips up towards the ceiling. Your palm is facing your midline of your body. And then we're going to take that same hand, reach it in the inner thigh, and either take hold with the front of the shin, or aim to take hold the outside or pinky toe side of the right foot. So coming into half happy baby. So once you have your hand placement, we can think of turning the inner thigh up towards the ceiling. Allow the hip to open. And then from there, beginning to track the toes over the knee. So the ankle is aiming to draw over the kneecap. So adjusting as you need to here. Taking hold of whatever works. Just be mindful that we're holding really onto the ankle joint or onto the knee joint, and anywhere else is perfectly fine. Noticing that right inner thigh and observing if there's more muscular effort there than there should be. So we tend to grasp, we tend to hold on to these spaces. And if that's your experience, can you think of visually drawing breath into the space that you're holding on to? Breathing into that space, full breath, nice and nourishing. Use the exhale to find a little bit more space, a little more release. The next time you exhale, slowly begin to release the grip. Draw the knee once again above the hip, and then release the sole of your foot to come down to meet the left. Just take a moment there to resettle, to refocus, to find the breath and presence if your mind has wandered. And then allow awareness now to settle into that left foot. Feeling the foot on the mat. Inhale, bring the left hand up to reach towards the ceiling, palm is facing midline. Draw the left knee in towards the body. Take the hand up the inside of the thigh. Again, either holding on just above the ankle, maybe in the back of your pant, or perhaps the outside edge of your foot. So think of this coming in two movements. We're going to first draw the knee down towards the mat, spin the inner thigh up towards the ceiling. And then from there, we're going to begin to track the toes towards the top of the mat, aiming to get the ankle to stack over the knee. And I use the term aiming because it does not necessarily come with ease. I realize that. But it's a lifetime goal. That's the thing with yoga, right? A lifetime goal. Again, just like our poses earlier, observing that often one side comes with a little bit more space. Observing here if there's space to move into or space to back out of. Directing energy or breath to wherever you're feeling sensation as we hold. Thinking of the weight of gravity here, drawing down the inner thigh, allowing everything to fall heavy. We'll use the next inhale to slowly release the grip, take the knee over the hip, and allow the sole of the foot to come and meet the mat. Then from there, let's open up the arms generously wide to a T. And without pairing it with breath necessarily, let's just allow the knees to rock side to side. Windshield wiper legs. We'll take a few more rounds of this, just resetting, releasing. And then coming back through center once again, setting up to move into figure 4, walking the heels comfortably close to the body. Extension through the low spine, lift through the belly. Let's inhale, bring the right knee in towards the body and cross the ankle onto the left thigh. Draw the right toes up. Allow your left or right knee rather to fall towards the bottom of your mat. Your hands at this point, maybe even one on each arm onto the belly or beside the body. Whatever finds comfort. Just holding here with that left foot staying on the mat. And just noticing the pelvis here, left side, right side. Can you track a little bit of weight into the left sitting bone so that the weight is equally distributed on both sides? If we can maintain this equal distribution of weight, the invitation to begin to float the left knee in towards the body. And if you choose to do that, just allow that left foot to fall heavy. Maybe the hands come around to support behind the thigh, maybe even onto the shin. Wherever that entire upper body or portion of your spine can stay connected with the mat. So if you find yourself lifting to grab, release the foot back down, root down through the back side of your body, and find the edge of your pose there. Okay. So really here trying to isolate the stretch in through the right glute. If you're feeling nothing there and you need a little bit more activity, you can use the upper body, the upper arm strength rather, to energetically draw the left knee in towards your body. Take one more breath here all together. Full cycle. Deep inhale. Complete exhale begins to release that left foot down to the mat if you've lifted it away. And then from there, keeping that right leg right where it is, not releasing quite yet. Can we think of squeezing the inner thighs in towards one another? So allow that right heel to slip over. Squeeze the inner thighs until they come towards touching. If you're to look down, maybe even that right kneecap hides the left kneecap. And then from there, with this inner squeeze, even if it's a little bit of a wider opening here, that's okay. We're going to inhale to bring the knees in towards the body, focusing on the inner thigh squeeze. Okay. From there, we're going to take our hands and reach either for opposite shins. If it's available, we're going to reach to the outside edge of the feet. And if your hands are on the outside edge of your feet, we're going to lift the heels so that the ankles come in line with the knees. Okay. So finding where you need to be in this. Keeping that focus on the inner thigh squeeze, upper body relaxed into the mat. Drawing the knees towards the chest. Breathing into wherever it is that you're feeling this. For me, it's deeply into the right glute. Take one more breath here. In through the nose. Completely out. Release the grip. Allow the feet to come to the mat. Release the top leg. And just to reset, hands onto the low belly space. Allow your knees to rock side to side. Coming back through your neutral alignment, taking a full breath once you arrive there. Walk your heels close to your body. The next time you inhale, bringing that left knee now in towards the chest, and then crossing your ankle to come onto the right thigh. Draw the toes up. Allow the knee to fall towards the bottom of your mat. Finding our figure four, opposite side. Noticing that right sitting bone. Can we sink a little bit of weight there so that the pelvis remains neutrally aligned? And then deciding if this is where you want to be on this side. The various options will be to keep that right foot onto your mat, to float it away, to take hands behind the thighs, to take hands onto the shins. Again, just finding that space where the upper body can be completely supported, but also finding that space where you find stretch in through your left glute. So always playing with that edge, right? Always playing with the ease of the pose, the effort of the pose, and looking for that balance. That balance is where we want to be, right? Often our breath will tell us so much about where we need to be. So paying attention to how the inhale and the exhale is arriving for you. Staying full and present with that yogic breath. Extending out of our low spine. Taking one more round here. If that right foot has floated away, mindfully releasing it back down to the mat. Just taking a moment to arrive there. And then allowing now that left foot to slip over to the right. Squeeze the inner thighs in towards one another. Maybe this is where you want to stay. And that's perfect. You're still going to get the same benefits. Next option will be to float the knees in towards the body. If you choose that, again, extending through that low spine. And I keep saying that because I really want to focus here on us being rooted equally, left and right, while continuing to stay present with that extension through our spine. Okay. So either choosing to stay right here or taking the hands now to the shins. And then using the upper body maybe to draw the knees inward, or taking the hands to the pinky edge of both feet, lifting the heels to come in line with the knees, and taking a generous stretch through that left glute. So really you just need to be wherever you're feeling it in the left bum cheek. Another full round of breath here. begin to take them down to connect. And then from there, we'll all release the bind of the legs. Open the arms up wide, turn the palms up, and then allow the knees to rock a bit here, side to side. Left and right. A little bit of massage there through the glutes. A little bit of mobility through your spine. And then from there, we're going to inhale, come back through center. Exhale, lengthen the legs now to the bottom of your mat. Just allow the feet to fall wide. And just notice weight here equally through the back of your legs. Down to the heels. As you inhale, bring the arms overhead. Point the toes, take a full body stretch. Big generous arch through the mid to low spine. And then as you exhale, wrapping the arms around, draw the knees in and roll on to your favorite side, guiding yourself up eventually into your easy seat. Perfect. So sitting up nice and tall there, rooting down through your sits bones. Just take a moment to allow your gaze to soften towards the top of your mat. Lift it to the crown of your head. Arrive to your breath. Allow your gaze to open. And then as you inhale next, bring the arms overhead with widespread fingers. Allow your fingers to touch. And exhale, softly bend the elbows, come down through heart center. Inhale, drop the shoulders, lift out of the fingertips. Exhale, bending the elbows, coming down through heart center. One last big breath here all together. Inhaling the arms up. Exhaling, taking the right fingers down to the mat, tenting the fingers, an extension out of that left side body. So reaching through the left fingertips. Keep the chin lifted away from your collarbone. Press into your left sitting bone. As you inhale, engage through that left side body, float the right fingers up. Exhale, release the left fingertips down to the mat, tent the fingers, reach out of the right fingers. Press the right sitting bone into the ground, drop the left shoulder away from your earlobe. Spin the heart forward. Inhaling, floating everything up, invite the palms to turn forward. Exhale, come into your forward fold, fingers graze the ground. Chest can stay lifted, chin can stay lifted, or the option of bending the elbows and allowing the chest to release forward, chin to come towards your collarbone. Okay, and once you arrive to whatever form suits, just take a moment there to take a full breath. The inhale finds lift and expansion. The exhale finds your body surrendering. Once you've found the form of the pose, can you shift awareness to the lower spine? Can you think of extending the low spine to the back of the mat? Draw the core in to protect the spine. And allow one more breath to arrive here. In and out. Use your next inhale to begin to peel yourself all the way up, eventually lifting out of the crown of the head. Arms float over. And then as you exhale, coming into your seated twist, right arm comes behind, left arm comes across. Drawing the right shoulder back, allowing the left side body to spin around. Continuing to lift and extend out of the crown of your head, going a little bit taller here. Inhale next. We'll take that breath to draw everything up through center. Arms come overhead. Lifting out of the fingers. Exhale, twisting over to the opposite side. Your left arm comes behind. Your right arm comes across. I always like to spin my front hand away from my knee so that I'm not pulling myself into the twist, but rather just allowing myself to arrive, whatever that looks like in the moment. Left arm draws back. Chin is level to the ground beneath. Keep that space away from your collarbone space. And using the next inhale, begin to unwind. Bring the arms overhead. Spin the palms forward. Allow them to come down to the mat. And then just play here with lifting the bum away from your mat. If it suits, I know it does, spin forward here and try to come into tabletop pose. Use the momentum. Rock forward. Otherwise, just get there however you need to get there. But it's always fun to try. You always surprise yourself sometimes. So coming into our tabletop pose, wrist under shoulders, knees under hips. Let's untuck the toes if that's okay. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Allow the next inhale to bring you into your cow pose. Draw the shoulders towards your sitting bones. Press the heart forward. Your exhale to draw the navel in. Allow the upper spine to round, coming into your cat pose. Inhaling, soften the belly. Lift the gaze forward. Cow. Exhale, tucking the tailbone, arch through the mid to upper spine. Head falls heavy for cat. Just transitioning here a few more times, moving through your traditional experience of cat and cow. And then the next time you come into cow, release any effort, release any thinking, and just find some free movement. So maybe circling through the hips, some variation of cat and cow, maybe allowing for some lateral or side-to-side movement. Just moving into sensation here. Maybe even closing your eyes so you can really become present with what it is that your body's needing in this moment. Eventually, we'll prepare to come into our tabletop pose all together. Drawing the navel in, extending out through the tailbone, shoulders will draw back. From here, let's feel the left knee, left foot onto the mat. And then we're going to begin to extend the left leg back and then walk it forward. Eventually, I want this left knee to replace left foot to replace where the left hand is. So if it's available, you can step the foot forward. Otherwise, you can maybe move little by little to bring the foot to where that left hand is. So coming into a little bit of a kneeling position here, you can have the option of taking a blanket underneath that back knee for a little support, or perhaps doubling up the mat for a little support. Ideally, we want to work towards this left knee being above the left ankle or behind, okay? And then from there, that right knee is still underneath the right hip. We're going to inhale, take your hands to the left thigh. Allow the tailbone to tuck under. And imagine like you're on a carousel here, those horses that go up and down. You want to imagine the core drawing down while keeping the pelvis tilted, core engaged. And then from there, we're going to lean forward with the upper body, take the fingers down to the mat on either side of the foot, and then exhale, begin to lengthen that front leg, allow the toes to come up away from the mat. You can press the hips right back if that's okay. Inhale, walk the hands forward, take the knee above the ankle. Exhale, sit the hips back, draw the left toes up, come into your half split. One last time. Inhaling, shifting weight forward, knee over ankle. Exhale, hips shift back, leg extends, toes draw up. From here, we're going to take that left hand inside the left foot and then begin to take the knee once again to come back to the mat. So see how I'm heel toeing one little bit at a time. See if that's available until that left knee comes down, or just arrive however you need to get there. I can't see you, so I can't give feedback, but I trust that we've been together long enough that you'll make your way there. So coming on to the opposite side now. We're going to feel that right side, extend the leg out, and then begin to make ourselves to a point, or take ourselves to a point where that right foot is going to replace the right hand. Okay. And then thinking about keeping the knee once again above the ankle, pressing into the back foot or top of the foot, squeeze the inner thighs in towards one another. Find the stability. Inhale, take the hands to the top of the right thigh. I always find it helps in my body if I squeeze the inner thighs in towards one another, find a bit of engagement from the pelvic floor to help with balance. Staying right here, tucking that tailbone under, lifting up from the core, come a little bit taller, and then lead with the heart, keep the length of the spine, take the hands to either side of your foot. As you inhale, begin to shift the hips back, draw the toes up, come into your half split. Exhale, shifting forward. And then taking that a couple more times, floating with your breath, finding the length, finding your balance. One last time, all together. Draw the toes up, shift the hips back. And once your foot arrives to the mat next, we'll take the right hand to the inside of the leg. Begin to heel, toe, or make your way back into your tabletop pose. Knees under hips, wrist under shoulders. Tuck the toes. Take the knees nice and wide. Untuck the toes. Press into the hands. Allow the chest to melt down. Come into child's pose. If you've offered anything underneath your knees, you can just release that off to the side unless it's still beneficial. But of course, keep it there. Anyhow, we're going to press our hips towards our heels. Allow our forehead to come and meet whatever it meets as we find child's pose. Allowing awareness to settle into breath here, into presence, and into any sensations that may have come up there. Are we still being kind? Are we still being grateful for whatever movement it is that we have? So noticing breath, noticing physical body, noticing our mindset. Extended out in front of you. Begin to feel all 10 fingers into the mat. In your own way, shape, or form, you're going to begin to please lift yourself out of your child's pose. And once you've arrived at the top of the pose, you can take the thighs in towards one another. Come onto either hip, left or right. And allow the soles of your feet here to come to meet the mat. Walk them as far away as you need to. If the toes come up, that's okay. Mostly let's just try to keep our heels onto the ground here. And then from here, we're gonna feel that right foot into the mat. Right heel, whatever's connected. We're gonna inhale, bring the right knee in towards the body. And then see about crossing the ankle to either come onto your shin, or maybe it comes onto the thigh. So it's a different variation of our pigeon or figure 4 pose that we did on our back. So if you can think about what that looked like in your body, we're going to see if we can find that same form of movement in a seated position. So if you're here and the toes the foot is above the knee, I'm going to draw the toes up. Think of pressing the knee heavy so that the hip can open. Okay, so we're either here or here. If it feels better to have that left leg extended, you can do that too. Okay, wherever it is that you're feeling weight through the right thigh and that you're feeling openness through the hip, into the front of the hip. Okay. Often it feels nice to find a bit of a rocking motion here, maybe a little bit of movement side to side. Can you think of keeping the upper body lifted? Keep the spine nice and long. We'll prepare to release this right foot once again down to the mat. So releasing the cross of the leg and then shifting awareness to the left side body, left foot, left heel. Inhale, draw the knee in towards your body. Just for a moment, lift out of the front side of your body, become nice and tall once again. And then cross the ankle, either over onto the shin, onto the thigh. Toes are drawing up either way. This right leg can stay bent, or you can extend the leg down to the bottom of your mat. Okay, so find on this side what this needs to look like in your body. And then decide if it feels better to hold in a static form without finding movement, or if it feels better to take more of a dynamic approach here by allowing for some rocking, weight shifting side to side. Although we're stretching through the hip, can you continue to find that extension, lift out of the crown of your head? We'll take another full breath here. In through the nose. Out through the nose, using that exhale to release the cross of the leg and extend both legs now to the bottom of your mat. Just making sure you have some space behind you to guide yourself down to the ground. So when you're ready, press out through the heels, keep the legs engaged, begin to roll all the way down until you arrive on your back, on your mat. And then once you're there, you can draw the knees in towards the body. Take your hands to the outside of each thigh. Allow the knees to fall wide here, feet to fall heavy, back of the arms to track towards the mat. And it might feel nice to find a bit of a rocking motion, allowing the inner thighs to open. Weight of gravity drawing down the inside of the legs. From here, releasing the grip of the hands, taking the soles of the feet to the mat, making your way into your reclined cobbler's pose. So allowing the soles of your feet to come to touch, your knees to draw wide. Good. Adjusting to whatever's comfortable. Some of us like to have our heels close to the body. Others find more comfort and ease by walking the heels away from the body. So adjusting that distance to whatever suits. The option of taking your hands beside the body, palms up towards the ceiling. If you're looking for more grounding this evening, we can turn the palms down towards the floor, or perhaps take one hand on the low belly, opposite hand onto the heart space. And just looking to find a form within your body where you can take this last pose before we move into Shavasana with relative ease. So noticing as you hold, if there's any areas that we need to adjust into, anything that we need to wiggle out. Allow yourself to completely arrive into your reclined cobbler's pose. And when I say completely arrive, I mean that in various domains. So I mean that first in our physical bodies, our asana or our pose. I mean that through breath and that fullness of breath, that anchoring of breath. And I also mean that through awareness, so our presence, our mind space. It's through the combination of all three, part of the limbs of yoga, all three of many, that allow us to find peace and presence on our yoga mat. We're all so interconnected. So the option of staying right here, if you'd like to hold your cobbler's pose for a little bit longer. If you prefer to move into Shavasana, feel free to make your way into that physical body space now. Taking your Shavasana, just like we did at the start of our practice, in a form that's going to support you, in a form that's going to come with very minimal effort. So once you've taken your body into that space, at this point, can you release any control? So release control of your breath, of your mind, and of your body. And after you've done that, just taking a gentle observation. How is it that you're feeling in this moment? And I say gentle. You can release the inner critic. There's no need in this time. Perhaps even looking for a moment of gratitude for coming to your mat, for being dedicated to your yoga practice. At this point now, releasing any need to think, any need to control. So allow yourself the next few minutes together here to breathe. towards your upper body. And then taking yourself onto your favorite side. And then once you're there, offering a few breaths. Allow your gaze to stay soft, perhaps eyes to stay closed. Eventually taking yourself into an easy seat, you choose to do so. When you inhale next, the invitation to bring the arms overhead, maybe even just the intention. Take a full community breath. And then as you exhale, releasing everything to your yoga space. Hands come through center. Namaste, everyone.